really healthy death metal scene, and it doesn't anymore. And at the same time, there was always a really healthy goth and industrial scene, and there still is. So the transition didn't really happen in terms of what we listened to, but it may have happened in terms of where we hung out.
That's so you're
people that we associated with. Because, like I said, I mean, for now, if you want metal shows, a lot of times you have to go to DC, or you have to, we still get them. But as far as a vibrant local death metal scene, there isn't one. Not in Baltimore, not anymore.
Well, I mean, somewhat. I guess
But to flip that over in terms of like the goth industrial scene, we've always had one. We still do. I would actually dare say that our goth industrial scene, in terms of bands now, is almost the way the metal scene was in Baltimore, maybe back in the 80s or 90s. We got a lot of bands now. We have Hindu Pez, Cassandra Syndrome, White Shadow. I'm forgetting people that are going to kill me later. Red the Sever, which is actually more of a synth pop thing. But I mean, it's like we have a lot more bands doing that stuff now, seemingly, than the metal stuff. So if there was any sort of transition, it may have happened there. But as far as what we listen to, we still listen to heavy stuff. We still go to shows, and we still, buy CDs. I just bought Death Clock the other day, which I think is amazing. Or
they're unbelievable musicians. I mean, regardless of the front they put on as a cartoon, they're unbelievable musicians.
Oh my God! I mean, it's like the one guy is, I believe, Brendan Small, like a Berkeley grad.
Yeah.
And the guy, the rest of it, he has Hoglan, who that guy is pretty much historic.
What band was Gene Hoglan originally from? I know he came from.
He was in Dark Angel.
Dark Angel.
And Death for a little while. He's in the new Fear Factory. I don't know if you heard about that.
Yeah.
They just reformed. I mean, the guy has you wiki the guy. The guy has a history of bands going back, 10, 15 years, and he's a phenomenal drummer. But yeah, I mean, I listen to that stuff. I mean, just from a guitar player standpoint, that stuff's amazing. And for them to, kind of build themselves as a comedy band, but to have this ridiculously good music to back it up is really cool. I mean, they're definitely not Spinal Tap,
Right. No, they have this one song that promotes Duncan Hill's coffee, and I was listening to it the other day. It came on my iPod, and I started laughing, but then I actually listened to it. I was like, this is actually pretty sound musically. It's unbelievable.
It's got like really cool sweeps, and it's. I used to teach guitar, and I'd always have my Metal 101 album that I always tell my students, hey, if you want to learn metal, on guitar, you may want to start here. And as time goes by, the album has changed, and now I recommend Death Clock. I mean, everything you need is right there. It's
right.
Like, it's got really good lead technique. It's got really good rhythm technique. The song structures are really good. If you're in the looking how songs are structured, I mean, it's all right there. And technically, the band doesn't exist.
Technically, yeah, but they have concerts and everything. Yeah. So I have one last question that kind of ties into what I was theming, and then so you said that's kind of an interesting viewpoint, that you say it's not so much a band that transitions you from era to era, but it's really kind of a location. And DC did have a pretty good reputation as being a big metal scene and everything. DC, Baltimore. If you could, where would you say that news center is? Where do you think that the metal scene is at its best now?
I can only speculate based off of what I've read, but it seems like Boston is really good for metal right now. I seem to hear about a lot of Berkeley grads who are going on tour, and of course you have that whole scene that Kill Switch came from.
Oh yeah, definitely. Massachusetts.
Kill Switch, Shadows Fall, All That Remains.
Right. There's that whole kind of I don't know what insert word here metal they call it now. But we seem to be seeing a lot of that from the Northeast. And to be honest with you, that's really much about it in terms of metal. I mean, the cool thing about it is, like, when it goes underground, it could be anywhere, and it'll just pop up all of a sudden. But as far as, like, popularity is concerned, it seems to be around the Boston, Massachusetts area.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, as far as I know. I mean, like, south of us, like, there are bands from, say, Georgia, like Kill Whitney Dead. I think they're from Georgia, and they're really heavy, and I hear there's a scene down there. But they don't really come up here very much because no one comes out, when they go see them. I mean, like, Kill Whitney Dead is huge, where they came from. They played here, I think, about a year ago, and 20 people show up. So we never saw them again after that, unfortunately.
Well, I mean, fair enough. I mean, if you're gonna have 20 people at a show, it's not really worth coming back. Know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, and that's a lot of gas for those guys. So, I mean, if no one shows up, I get why they're not coming back here. Why they haven't been back here lately.
Exactly.
But to answer your question, though, those are the only two places that I know of in the States that have any sort of like real quote-unquote metal scene, and I wish we had one back in Baltimore. I miss it, but, it's what it is.
All right, well, talking about metal scenes, I mean, I'm personally from New Jersey. I know there's quite a large scene there. There's like Dillinger Escape Plan. Have you heard of them?
Yes.
And also Symphony X came from Jersey as well. I mean, there's quite a big scene. Do you guys ever go up there, play shows at all, or do you normally just try to stay somewhat local?
Last year we focused on really solidifying the band. We just finished the album. We did a slight tour to the Wonder of the Gods Festival in Texas, which actually got canceled. So we really focused on being local outside of Texas last year because we were really just kind of cementing things that were going on. Next year, like the new album should be out around April 2010.
Okay.
2010. Next year, we definitely want to focus on more of the East Coast shows, getting to New Jersey, going up to New York, maybe up to Massachusetts, getting down to Georgia and the Carolinas, just kind of using Baltimore as a hub and spreading out from there.
Oh, definitely.
Because, I mean, we played a lot in Baltimore last year, and it was really cool, but we really didn't do a lot of the surrounds. And next year, that's going to be our focus because, like I said, last year we were just really kind of getting the pieces together, and now we're really starting to be more solid, and we feel like we can go places and put on a show. It's worth people coming out and seeing.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. When you said like you were going to a music festival that was canceled in Texas or outside of Texas?
It was in Dripping Springs, Texas last year. It was called the Wonder of the Gods Festival. It was actually a 3-day fest. It was a multi-genre festival. They had they had a bunch of industrial bands, a bunch of really like well-known metal bands. Like Absu was supposed to play there last year. I wish I had the list in front of me. I have a T-shirt, which I can't find.
Yeah, it's all right.
Basically, what happened, the promoter ran out of money, and on the last day of the festival, he took off.
Oh,
so the third day of the festival, you had guys flying in from other countries, bringing their gear and playing, and they were stuck at the airport.
Yeah.
Absu, I think, was one of them.
I've heard of
that guy
Absu.
flew in all the way from Italy, if I remember correctly. So that ended up being the bust, and but what ended up happening is we ended up getting gigs on the way back, so it wasn't a total loss. But yeah, that was the festival we played last year, and unfortunately, it kind of went belly up.
Unfortunately, definitely.
Hopefully, we can get some more this year.
Oh yeah. If you ever do want to go back to Texas, there is a brand new festival that actually opened up for the first time in Houston,
Texas.
It's called Free Press Summerfest. It had like a variation of musical genres. There was the Sword that actually made an appearance there. For the most part, most of the bands that were there are sort of in the indie genre, but there are a couple of heavy bands there. As far as I know, the Sword was probably the heaviest of them all there. I'm just saying, if you ever want to... And there was also like Broken Social Scene, Explosion in the Sky. If you ever do like want to try it again in Texas, I'm just saying, Free Press Summerfest, give it a shot.
Well, thank you. I mean, the biggest thing about Texas is anytime you go any place, if you don't go back, you know what I mean? So it's like you have to include that in whatever touring circuit you're going to have.
Yeah.
I would love to go back, but we ignored a big part of the East Coast last year.
Yeah.
So hopefully, this time around we'll definitely, catch, like you said earlier, in like New Jersey, New York, the Virginias, the Carolinas, Georgia,
Well, definitely.
And then, we get a chance to get something really cool in Texas, we'll definitely go.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and just one quick question. Obviously you said that you're more into metal, and then your other I'm totally blanking out on your other band member's name. Could you quickly repeat that? His name?
Why don't we go through all of them?
All right.
I play guitar.
Okay.
I'm Tony Mallory.
Okay.